Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be diving into some release details on the upcoming PvP 2 update. This is the second PvP update, which introduces new game modes, bunch of new weapons, both free and DLC content, and we're going to go into some of the free content and some of the DLC content in separate parts of the video so you can have them all grouped together. And then there's also a little bit of information in the DLC content. I don't know if it is DLC or not, but something that the devs didn't mean to show, but they did. It was a choice they made on stream. I don't think we were supposed to see it, but we're gonna get into that too at the end of the video as well, so make sure you stick around. But let's start with what's going to be free. So we're gonna start with, there's a 50-second trailer highlighting the free content right here. So let's just watch this first, and then we'll pick it apart and dive into some details on the live stream as well. Here we go. Got deathmatch game mode. Mini torpedoes for underwater battle. Underwater torpedoes, which I guess are a different version of the mini torpedoes. Flat cannon. 2 different sizes. And that is the teaser. So diving into it, we have the deathmatch game mode. So one of the things that the devs acknowledged was that a lot of people, you battle each other in servers. And one of the things is keeping track of kills or scores or things like that. So you can see up in the top left here of the screen, you have a scoreboard of everybody who is in the server, and everyone's got different points. And you may be wondering why some people have like nice round numbers like 50, 40, and 90, and other people have individual, like small, more precise numbers like 51 and stuff. And that they'll go into detail into that in the live stream. I'll address that as well. But let's move on a little bit through here. Looks like there's a final scoreboard showing everyone's final scores and 3 wins to win a match, it looks like. You have 1 trophy here because Sareth was the winner. Now onto the torpedoes. So one of the big things you may have noticed with the Pioneers update is they essentially made almost every single weapon underwater incompatible. They no longer fire underwater, and they don't penetrate through water either. So where does that leave us with submarine battles and things like that? Well, it turns out they've been working on specific underwater designs for weapons, and torpedoes is like the most obvious one here. So you can see some of them in action here with the mini torpedoes, and then it's a little hard to see. There we go. You can see in here as well. Here, let's go back. Let's try to identify the actual weapon on the vehicle. So for the mini torpedoes, what are we looking at here? Okay, all right, found it. It's this thing right here. So if we look really, really close, you see these little yellow cylinders right here. Watch as they get released. See, just like that. So the mini torpedoes seem to be like a barrage of small weapons. So you can see a whole bunch of them. I think like 5 or 6 get launched. It's like pew, 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 pew. There they all go. And then the underwater torpedoes, yep, it's these things on the side. You can see it's angling to the side here, and they shoot larger torpedoes. Looks very much like the rocket launchers, but for torpedoes instead. Whereas the mini torpedoes seem to act more like the mini grenade launcher, where it's like a barrage. So then also, we got the flat cannons here. And the flat cannons seem like they are rapid fire, not like the other cannons where you shoot 1 bullet and then you're done. These ones, even the big one you can see fires like multiple rounds per second. And that's all that's in the actual trailer, but let's hop over to, they actually have a whole 35-minute, like 20-minute live stream, because there's like 15 minutes of waiting screen. But they have a whole deep dive here into that trailer, essentially, and what they're showing. And they're showing different clips that you don't see in the trailer. So this is the PV, or the deathmatch, or the death mode. Yeah, deathmatch. So there are things we see in the deathmatch here that we don't see in the trailer. One is repair tokens. So you can see you have a single repair token down here in deathmatch mode. And this says you are broken with no token. And if you look in the middle here, there is a token here, as well as like this mound here is not currently part of the Great Carrier Reef, which this map is. So the map itself has also been adjusted to accommodate deathmatch mode. And you can get repair tokens on the battlefield, so that way you can repair yourself if you're getting damaged. And there's also a bunch of settings. You can also get a repair token for killing people, but it is a server option as well. So you can also see up here, they have a kill streak thing. So here, let's go back. All right, so you can see it's number 4. It's kind of blurry because of the resolution right now. And you can see he gets a kill. It goes up to number 5. It says ×5 as a little pop-up here. You see it pop up next to the right side of the screen over here when he kills this person too. And then 6, he's got a kill streak of 6. So it shows you your kill streaks too, which is pretty cool. And then I'm assuming that the meter here, you can see like the name Crazy Bird here has a very high meter. Sarathir is down here. These ones are equal. These ones are equal. So I guess whatever your maximum, your top score is, your goal score to win, this meter just fills up as you get closer to that score, so you can see everybody's ranking relative to how full their meter is. All right, and then the next really important thing that they show is the gameplay settings for deathmatch. So what's interesting is they have like a vehicle type. So you can choose vehicle types. I don't know how that's enforced necessarily. I don't know if they actually went into this on the live stream. Yeah, so it seems like they skip over this part for some reason. They go directly to how many points you need to win. So you can set your point number. So 100 it is here, and it seems like you get 10 points per kill. And then those singular points actually come down to the chickens here. So you can set how many chickens are on the map, and I guess if you kill the chickens, you can designate how many points each chicken kill is worth. So you can also get little points to try to beef up your score in between kills. You can also set your player points your points per player kill here. How many rounds you need to win. You can just customize pretty much everything. So this one isn't obvious from the title, in my opinion. Damage fraction for instant kill. So what they said about this is you can essentially decide how much of the vehicle do you have to have damaged in order to get a kill. Because we've all played games where you have the armored seats and you're just tearing their vehicle apart. They're completely dysfunctional. They have no wheels. They have no weapons. They have no way to move or anything or do anything. But you have to keep shooting at them to blow up the final seat that is holding them intact. And that may not be the experience you want in deathmatch. So instead, you could be like, hey, if I've destroyed 75% of your vehicle, even if your seat is still intact, you're dead. And you could also set it down to, ooh, I just got the idea. This would be super fun. Whatever the minimum of this is, you're essentially going to have instant, like actual instant kill. One hit, one kill. But then would you die if you damaged yourself? Probably. It would just be a self-kill. But that would be like literally like walking on eggshells in a match. Just any damage and you die. I want that to be an option. I hope it's as fun as it sounds. But it reminds me of like the old like, but playing GoldenEye on N64, the most fun way to play it to me was there was an option in the match settings called, I think it was called License to Kill or something. And it basically made it so that it was always one shot, one kill, no matter what. You didn't cause damage. There was no healing or anything like that. If you hit them with a single bullet, even if you had a rapid fire gun, they were dead. That was the most fun way to play. And I kind of want to try that in Trailmakers now after seeing this. All right, so then of course, as we get further down, invincible time, this is just when you respawn, how much time do you have before you can start taking damage, so it discourages spawn camping. You can set how long repair tokens spawn in the map and how many are in the world. And then you can actually choose whether or not you automatically get a repair token when you kill people. And then this last one, free repair time, what I think they were saying is it's the amount of time it takes to use your repair, because repairing on the battlefield, it shouldn't just be like an instant quick thing. Like it should be a vulnerable point, so you can choose how vulnerable to make that. I think that's what this means. All right, another thing that's changing is the server menus. When you're looking for multiplayer servers, they're taking away the quick join things, and you have to find a multiplayer server and choose to join a particular server. You can't just get dropped in random servers not knowing what the rules are, what the title is, how they're playing, or things like that. So this is what the new server menu is going to look like. Looks really, really clean and easy to navigate. All right, and then they get into showing some of the weapons here. So this is the flat cannon. You can see how the individual shots look. So it takes a while for those shots to actually explode. But then you can see when you start doing barrages of shots, then it gets pretty interesting. Now, I'm really curious. I don't know exactly what the blast radius is on these, but I'm curious how effective these are actually going to be against air vehicles. And I don't know, like, with the distance that they travel, like, I'm really curious to see, do they explode when they come in proximity to something, or do they always explode at a set distance? It's hard to get that information from how they're being demonstrated in the live stream. And then I think now they're transitioning over to showing the torpedoes in action. As far as this goes, I think you got, I think that's the regular torpedo on top, and you can see the mini torpedoes down here. Okay, he's taking a look at the mini torpedoes right now. It looks like 1, 2, 3, looks like 6 torpedoes. And then the big torpedo, just that one on the top. So he's aiming with the big torpedo. Decent amount of damage. And there you can see the mini torpedoes all kind of take off. And it looks like it's very much like the mini grenade launcher. The mini torpedoes have a much bigger spread, whereas the standard torpedo size seems to be more like the rocket launcher, where it's just one thing aiming directly where it's targeting. And remember, this is all the free content. None of this is DLC that I've gone over so far. All right, so actually here we're seeing an instance where they are using the flat cannon to shoot the little duck over there. And it's still unclear to me how it works. Because to me, it's like, are they exploding because they're hitting the carrier, or are they exploding because they're getting close to a creation? Because this is obviously way closer than what we saw when they were shooting up in the air. So I kind of do feel like they might have some blast. This might work against planes pretty well. If it's just proximity based, if a plane is near, it's just going to explode and you just create a whole barrage up in the air. So I'm really curious how hard it's going to be to shoot down planes with those. All right, so I think that pretty much sums up the free content coming with the PvP update. New game modes, new weapons, new underwater capabilities. Now let's, this is the transition point. We're heading into the DLC now. So first, let's start with the trailer. So flamethrower, pretty big deal in my opinion. Like a small tank cannon, smaller deal in my opinion, hence the name. Landmines, pretty big deal in my opinion. Sea mines are a big deal. Air to surface torpedoes, interesting deal. Depth charge is another interesting deal. There's some more depth charge examples. Retro stabilizer. All right, let's have a big deal on the retro stabilizer. But some of those are pretty significant additions to the game. So let's hop over to the live stream on this one and go into some more detail on what we're seeing here. All right, so the big thing, like this is like the hottest part of the Packing Heat DLC is the flamethrower. Look at this. It is beautiful. But actually, before I get into the flamethrower, I'm gonna go in order to the live stream so I don't accidentally backtrack. But this propeller right here, this is also new. So that's gonna be a new addition for the DLC. Different type of propeller options, different aesthetics. Still have other propellers perfectly functional. And then you can see these are actually the flamethrowers next to the propeller, so you can see the little flame there and the big old muzzle for the fuel. But yeah, look at that. It looks beautiful. Even in the daytime, it looks beautiful. They changed to nighttime though. Look at that. So I am so looking forward to the flamethrower, especially dragons are going to actually have real fire breath instead of the fake smoke, like actual damage causing fire breath. Because if the flamethrower is not aesthetic, it's actually a weapon. So you can see here, I'll turn the volume up a little bit so you can hear the damage.
To make a good version and to make it cool and do its best. At the same time,
it seems pretty strong. Like it's like a shotgun. It's like close range spray damage. It seems to do a lot of damage if you stay within close range. It is very close range though. You got to get close with this thing. That's gonna make for some interesting battles. Also, it could be an aesthetic part, like purely aesthetic. If you have it like as a exhaust thing, like just flames coming out as like an exhaust aesthetic, that could be pretty cool too. All right, so moving on from the flamethrower, we've got the small cannon.
At least
there we go. Sounds great, looks great. This is technically a glitch build here because there's 4 small cannons glitched in to 2. So it fires faster than I think than the default small cannons fire. But the reasoning behind the small cannons is like all we have for like tank cannon style things are 2x2 width and height blocks, and that creates a very large cannon. And some tanks are just better suited to have like a smaller barrel aesthetically. So it's more of just an aesthetic option to have this small tank cannon than just all large tank cannons. All right, one of the other big deals here is the landmine. So here, let's spawn it in. Let's watch them spawn it in here. You can see it in the back. Yep, that little thing right there. You can see he drops a landmine, and then he approaches the landmine, and it blows him up. The landmines are proximity based. They go into the settings here. You can see down here, there is a trigger radius, and you can set the trigger radius. It looks like 5 is the maximum, so I think that's just like the standard 5-meter distance that you would have on a distance sensor. And then 0 is the minimum, so they actually show what 0 looks like. So with 0, you essentially have to like come in direct contact, like on top of it, as you can see. There we go. So I think it actually looks pretty cool. Otherwise, it's just proximity based. You get close, it blows up, it causes damage because they have a decent blast radius. So that's gonna be super fun, super interesting for battles. I'm curious what the recharge time is gonna feel like on those. How many are we gonna have to create like lines of mines? Also, what's the maximum number of mines that can exist out of a single landmine dropper? It might only just be, I don't even know if it's 1 and then you have to wait for it to blow up before you drop another one, or if you could have an unlimited number, or if you start dropping more and more and more, the earlier ones are going to start disappearing, kind of like the wall dispensers and the ball dispensers and stuff. All right, anyway, moving on. We have the sea mines, which aesthetically look awesome. Yeah, look at this thing. I think it's going to drive. Oh yeah, let me rewind a little bit there. It's going to go ahead and drive into it. These, I think, function virtually the same as the landmines, where you have the same settings. Radius, you can set it from 5 to 0. The difference is these float. The landmines do not float, so you can have landmines on the seabed, but you cannot have sea mines on the seabed. It sounds counterintuitive, but at the same time, makes perfect sense. So yeah, this is what they look like. This is actually really interesting, like the shape of them. They're a very large piece here, and they have like a wedge, kind of like more like a square. They take up a square, but they attach kind of like a wedge facing down in the back of this ship here is how they were set. On the sides, I could see it being pretty cool. These could also, I see these things as being potentially just aesthetic parts too. Really unique aesthetics on this thing, so it could just be used as an aesthetic part. I'm curious what they do if you drop them onto land though. I don't think that they went over that in this stream as far as I know. Apparently you can shoot them too, but I think they actually have a little bit of health, so it depends on what weapons you're using and how much damage each weapon causes. I don't know if it takes 1 hit or multiple hits for some weapons, but they did indicate that they could take multiple shots. All right, and then the thing that they're showing off here, they have air-to-surface missiles. So these are missiles that you launch from a plane. They can go into the water without exploding, and then they float back up to the surface and act as like surface torpedoes. So you can see them right here. They get launched out. They fall into the water, and you can see that they curve up to the surface and they explode, looks like with proximity. So Johannes went on a mission, a very lengthy mission to try to successfully hit this boat with air-to-surface missiles. Took a little bit of time.
Chat, what do you
think? He was not very successful, as you can see, but eventually this happened. There we go, really early. So one of the issues with these is like they dive under the water and then it takes some time before they get back to the surface. So it can be really easy to accidentally go underneath the boat, but you can see here, they were on the surface. Congratulations, Johannes. Congratulations. They went back to the surface plenty of time before they actually hit the boat. I feel like there's going to be pretty easy to dodge if you have like fast boats and stuff, but could be really intimidating if you got a slow boat and you just see them coming after you. Other than that, you have this, I forget what it was called. Yeah, it's called a retro stabilizer. That's what it's called. So it's just another yaw option, or actually I think it is one of the only options now that is a built-in yaw into a fin that can be centered on a too wide part of your plane. Because normally all of our yaw options right now are 1 block wide, so you'd have to have 2 of them next to each other to have it centered on your plane, or you have like the large tail fin that doesn't have the yaw option. But this one does have the yaw option, and it fits nice and centered. And then they also mentioned, another thing that they mentioned is they have the modern stabilizer here, which is actually part of the free update. So this is going to be another, looks like a centered 2 wide yaw stabilizer, yaw compatible stabilizer that is not in the DLC. It's in the free update. So both the free and the DLC will be getting a version of this type of block here. This one's just more angular and compatible with some of the other angular wing pieces. All right, so now what they're showing off here is the depth charge. The depth charge is really interesting. The way that it works is it seems like you have control over how far you launch the depth charge. So you can see these are facing sideways right now. So when he presses the launch button, you actually hold it down and you'll see it contract like a piston. And then when you release, it shoots it out. So you can have it shoot down, you can have it shoot up, you can have it shoot any way that you want, but you can control whether or not you essentially drop it straight down by just tapping the button, or you can hold it to have it shoot out and control the distance that it ejects from the weapon here. So you can see it contracts and then it shoots out. And then I'm assuming, I don't know exactly, but I'm assuming that they're proximity based. When they hit the ground, they explode. As far as other creations go, I don't know. I'm assuming it doesn't have to be a direct hit. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm assuming they're like proximity based. I don't really know exactly. You can see it explode on the ground over there. Another thing that they talked about in the update is what is it called? Muzzle flash. The muzzle flashes have been mostly updated, so you can see it a little bit here on the blaster. We got that like fancy little muzzle flash thing. Apparently the minigun has also been updated, and this is the point in which they accidentally leak something. Yeah. So if you look up here, you can see that some of these weapons have this little yellow icon, and they talked about it earlier in the stream. They're like, we're not going to show you what that is because that's not part of what we're going over today. However, Johannes had to bring out a minigun in order to show what the updated muzzle flash looks like. And this is how that went.
There's gonna be... Okay, fine. You know, go clip that and then take a look. You know, that's fine. You can do that.
He said I can do it. You heard it here. He said, go clip that. You can do it. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna rewind a little bit here. So he tried to really fast grab the minigun out of there so that the menu wouldn't be on screen very long. But here, let's see if I can find the exact moment. Here it goes. Here it goes. I'm going frame by frame. Oh, he's hesitating. Okay, here it goes. Here it goes. Look at the mouse moving. Look at it going. And we're almost there. Come on. There it goes. All right. We have this menu shows up. Now, everything looks normal, except for this right here. They don't talk about it. They don't tell us what it's all about. But if I had to guess, what it looks like is skins, weapon skins, alternative aesthetics for the same weapon. So this is the minigun, and if you press Q, you have the standard minigun that we've always had, but if you press E on this menu, it looks like you can swap to a different skin. So now, if you look at every single weapon that has this yellow icon, I think that means, therefore, there are alternate skins for each of these weapons, which is really interesting. My initial thing was like, oh, are there upgrades? Can we upgrade the minigun or something? But because this is taking up the same slot as a minigun, the same power cores as a minigun, I'm assuming that these are not upgrades, but just aesthetic alterations on what kind of minigun aesthetic what vibe are you going for, depending on what your creation looks like. So that's what I think this is about. You can let me know if you have different theories down in the comments below, but seems pretty straightforward to me. We got different weapon skins, alternate weapon skins that you can choose between at will. And I don't know, the other thing, my biggest disclaimer here, I don't know if that is a DLC only feature or if it is a free content only feature. They did not, it is technically not supposed to be revealed in either of those contexts. So I don't know if that could mean it might be free or it might be DLC. I don't know. But thanks, Johannes, for the very, very smooth leak there. But just in case you were wondering, the reason that leak happened was because he just wanted to show you guys this. He just wanted to show you guys that the miniguns have a very, very subtly updated muzzle flash, as he will demonstrate right now. Look at that muzzle flash. Iconic.
But it was worth it to compare muzzle flashes.
All right, so I think that pretty much covers the Packing Heat DLC as well as the free content update. If you go to the Trailmakers Discord, I think they have a link in their like announcements channel to the Packing Heat DLC page where you can wishlist it and help out the Trailmakers devs by adding it to your wishlist. I did it myself. If I remember, I'll leave a link to it down in the description too. So if you guys want to add that to your wishlist. I'm definitely looking forward to it. They said that next week, if you guys tune in for the live stream, I probably won't make a dedicated video on this. This one had a couple of things to go over, but next week there is another DLC that they're going to be going into called like the Frontline DLC or something. I don't know what that's about. You have to wait till the stream to find out. So let me know in the comments, what are you most excited for between the free stuff and the DLC? I mean, the flamethrower to me is the big thing with the DLC. And for the free content, I'm most curious about the flat cannon. I really want to see how these work with air vehicles. I think some anti-air battles could be really, really fun with flat cannons. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. What are you most looking forward to? And if you have any ideas on stuff you'd like to see happen when the content comes out, let me know, and I might do it on the channel. If you guys enjoyed this video, you'll probably enjoy some more you can find right here on the end screen. Hope this video has earned your subscription. Anyway, this has been ScrapMan, and I'll see you next time. Bye.